Happy New Year's to everybody, and we're a few days away from Nvidia having their keynotes at CES 2025. Now, I do want to say, if the rumors are true, CES is going to be very bullish for Nvidia, and unfortunately, I believe it could be very bearish for AMD and Intel. Well, in today's episode, I'm going to go a little bit more deeper. First, we're going to try to understand what CES is and some of what both companies kind of released, AMD and Nvidia, released in CES of 2024, so we can kind of understand the type of products that are usually released here. At the end, I want to take a closer look at some of these rumors that we're hearing about what Nvidia might release as well, something completely different, and why it can impact a lot of semiconductor companies in different ways. So let's take a closer look. But before we go any further, make sure to hit the thumbs up, make sure to hit the subscribe button, check out the pinned comment for special offer at fool.com/Jose. And more importantly, check out my free daily semiconductor newsletter, whatthechip.happened.com.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right. So like I mentioned, CES is happening on January 6th, and we are going to get a special keynote by Jensen himself, the CEO of Nvidia. And that's going to start at around 9:30 Eastern Standard Time here on January 6th. So let me know in the comments below if you think I should do a live stream of it and if you're willing to join. If not, I will most likely be doing a video just a few hours, maybe even a few minutes after the keynote event. So Nvidia's stock price is right now sitting at about 134. Unfortunately, the last day of the year did not see that great for the semiconductor over the tech market in general. Nvidia was down roughly 2%. AMD was down roughly 1%. I'm going to guess Intel, which was shocking, was up 1% on the day. Intel was one of the few stocks green on a red day, and this is probably, I kind of mentioned it on my X post, and Intel embodies that meme of never let the world know what your next move is. And I think the market did not expect that Intel was going to be one of the few stocks up. But regardless, before CES, you do start to see kind of a lot of excitement in stock prices. Normally, when events like this happen, you start to get a lot of excitement of what the company might release, of what the company might announce, and you start to see things trending up. And then after the events, you might see kind of a short decrease in price as all those expectations either were not met or the stocks was just too extended based on those expectations. So as a short-term trader, I definitely would say be mindful of that. As a long-term investor, something that I am, I could care less. It's just going to be noise at the end of the day. Nothing's going to change. But there is one possible rumor that, in my opinion, can create some form of reaction for the stock market in general. And I'll explain that a little bit more later in this episode. But first, for those that are not familiar with CES, CES is a consumer electronic trade show. And here you normally see just products or releases about the consumer market. So we shouldn't see anything about the AI data center market, right? If you're expecting Nvidia to announce anything major about their data center market, this is not the event. We're most likely going to hear about that during GTC, which is expected to happen on March of 2025. So the data center market, it's what really drives Nvidia stock right now. Now, that doesn't mean that Nvidia can't announce pretty cool things. I mean, in the last CES of 2024, because it is a consumer market, they focused on a lot of solutions that consumers can do with their consumer GPUs, the RTX 4000 series line. They kind of announced partnerships with like Adobe, how Adobe you're able to use kind of Adobe software and the power of NVIDIA GPUs to do generative AI solutions with a lot of these creative plays. They also mentioned how maybe Twitch and other streaming platforms were adopting NVIDIA's RTX GPUs drivers or stuff like that to make it easier for content creators. In forms of actual hardware release, they did announce kind of an upgraded version of their current GPUs, which was the RTX 4080 Super and the RTX 4070 Super, right? So they kind of refreshed some of their consumer GPUs and made them a little bit better. So those were kind of the main releases. It had to do with either some AI software or improvements to their AI hardware. And in regards to the AI hardware, it kind of drove kind of like more new laptops as well coming in with their kind of new products. So we can pretty much see it's mainly meant for consumer market. At the end though, Nvidia did announce how they are working with the robotic space, being industrial, being consumer, being medical, the list goes on and on. So I think the reason robotics was discussed during last year's CES is because the Nvidia seems to think that the robotics market is coming at very rapid levels and it's going to be a big player to the consumer space in maybe the next few years. So they're trying to let us know everything they're working with there. I personally believe that's going to happen this year as well. We're most likely going to hear about NVIDIA's RTX 5000 series line, which is going to be their next generation of consumer GPUs. I'm pretty sure if you already Google NVIDIA 5080 or 5090, you're going to hear that they are going to start to be announced during CES and most likely hit the shelves sometime later this month. The other reason that I believe maybe they might announce something more than GPUs is because Jensen himself is actually going to be doing the keynote. If we look at it at the last special address at CES, I don't believe it was Jensen. I don't think, let me see, CES 2024, Jensen, not VES. Let's see. I just want to, last year, it wasn't Jensen that did the keynotes. It was just a lot of their engineers. This year, it's actually going to be Jensen. So for Jensen doing it is definitely a reason. Hey, why aren't you sending your normal people to discuss the consumer space? Why are you entering? So in my opinion, there also has that is kind of giving us some evidence that maybe something different might happen. Outside of that, I think the company is also going to release kind of more information about the robotics market, right? Robotics has definitely taken a huge movement in the past few months. Yesterday or 2 days ago, we actually did a topic of how one of NVIDIA's senior engineers was discussing how, and we can pull him up. It was Dr. Jim Fan. He mentions that, hey, look, the 2025 is going to be a year of robotics. So all these pieces and them discussing it last year, I think we're going to hear more about the robotics market. Now, AMD, very similar to Nvidia, really much only announced consumer products. They announced kind of their consumer GPUs, consumer CPUs with some form of AI solution amongst them. So that's what we should expect from both players. And I think the market already knows that. Now, there are a lot of rumors that Nvidia is actually going to announce a CPU for the consumer space, which is normally pretty... when I first heard these rumors, and these rumors have been going on for, I want to say, at least a year. And normally I wouldn't want this to happen because I think in the CPU space, you had so much competition that Nvidia will probably not have high margins in this market. But the more I think about it, the more that I see it, I think this is actually a very big opportunity for Nvidia. And this is not going to be Nvidia's first CPU, right? They do have a CPU that is for their data center market, and that is the Grace CPU. The reason it's the Grace CPU, it helps with AI workloads and AI solutions. And I think they're going to bring this well to the consumer market, or at least to the business market in forms of consumer product. And the way I'm thinking about it is if NVIDIA does enter the CPU space, I think they're only going to focus in high margin laptops, in high margin markets. And those two markets are the following. The first market, in my opinion, would be engineering. AI scientists, machine learning scientists, data scientists, those that are just using those laptops to make or do AI workloads locally. If you have a NVIDIA CPU and then an NVIDIA GPU, you'll probably be able to have the fastest workload, which can help your workforce in general. So if they do release a CPU, I think that's a key market. There's a lot of AI companies, a lot of AI engineers right there. And I think that could create a nice opportunity for high margin product, right? And I think that's going to be very beneficial if they do it. Another industry is kind of like the gaming market and the creating market, be it being video editing, image generation, or just any type of content creation in general and gaming. If that's all you're using kind of like your CPU for and kind of like your GPU, a partnership of NVIDIA's CPU and NVIDIA's GPU will probably give you the best performance. It also will give you kind of the best efficiency as well, opposed to using maybe your traditional x86. The only reason I would think NVIDIA would be making a CPU is if they believe the current x86 architecture is holding their GPUs back. And if they believe it's holding their products back, they're going to design something that makes their products shine like no tomorrow. And I think those are the two places that they can shine like no tomorrow. The gaming, content creation community, video editing community, and all that. And then the kind of engineering, machine learning, AI sciences, visualization, emulation, those type of people that are using accelerated computing on their laptops, and both are going to be high margins. Now, if that does come up, I do believe that could be a nice trajectory to the stock. I think that can be very bullish, as many analysts are not expecting that or exploiting that in their revenue projections. Now, I do believe that could create short-term bearish thesis for companies like AMD and Intel, because if Nvidia enters any market, that's going to increase competition. So obviously, I am very bullish on AMD. AMD has vast growth opportunities, in my opinion, in the AI data center space, but their core products is in the CPU client market. So if you do own AMD, these are some things to consider. AMD is my number 2 position, and even if they have a CPU, I have no intentions of selling right now, but I would have to listen to the CES event. But something to be mindful of, if Nvidia does release that CPU, it could impact AMD and Intel. A company that can also get bullishly impact would be ARM. So ARM is if Nvidia announces a CPU, 99% sure it's going to be based on the ARM architecture. There's no other way around it. So if Nvidia announces this can open up a huge opportunity for more royalty fees or more royalty collection for a company like ARM. And in the short term, this could create a nice bullish sentiment for ARM. So I think big changes if these rumors are true that Nvidia does release a CPU. If Nvidia doesn't release a CPU, then I believe maybe we might see a nice decrease in certain stocks, especially Nvidia, as before the event, a lot of people are going to be expecting so much, and maybe the company might deliver. Again, the big keynote for Nvidia is going to be GTC, which is on March 2025. So March 17th. So that's the one we're really excited about. But I am curious. I am really curious if NVIDIA releases that CPU and where the market can use it. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. Hope it got you thinking. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think NVIDIA is going to have a CPU release during CES? Take care. Have a good day. And check out whatthechip.happened.com.